Yesterday evening, Swift Current and surrounding area residents piled into All Saints Catholic School to discuss possible changes to the area's policing model. One option being considered by police and the project's consultants, MNP, is a super hub format. At the meeting, many concerns were shared from the public and were also addressed by members of the two host organizations. Kevin Kunetsky, RCMP Superintendent and South District Officer for the RCMP's F Division, presented at the meeting and said he was excited with the direction the consultation went and what may come of it.
By having a consultant come in and take a look at what we're doing and be part of some of the consultations, we're hoping that might provide a different way or a different perspective of looking at some of the problems and different ways of solving them.
He said that under a super hub, response times could be lowered and the police force could focus more on proactive policing. The restructure proposal is said to not have been prompted by budget cuts or union issues. Now here's SwiftCurrent Online's full interview with Everett Hindley, SwiftCurrent MLA.
One of the smaller turnouts from my understanding, just from what I've heard in the media locally and seen just online on social media, there's obviously some bigger crowds in some of the other centres, Maple Creek and Shaunavon, for example. But a good turnout here in Swift Current tonight and some good discussion. I think that's the most important part. Turnout's important, but the discussion is important. And you had a number of folks here asking some questions and the RCMP asking questions of the crowd here as well tonight. So I think there was some good dialogue this evening and I think some points here to move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing's final yet, but
right.
A lot of concern coming into the meeting, and it seems like a lot of concerns were answered. So from that standpoint, would you say this has been a success?
Well, I'd say this. I think, one of the members here from the RCMP addressed it tonight when we indicated that at a lot of these meetings, part of the reason perhaps for the turnout was that there was some concern that perhaps what was being discussed might lead to some, closure of detachments or, fewer officers in the area, in some of these rural areas around some of these rural communities providing services and support. And it was, I think, reassuring to hear tonight here in Swift Current and the same message would have been delivered in the other communities as well, that's definitely not on the table. That what's happening here is they want to improve the situation. That's what the RCMP's goal here is, to try and challenge the status quo because they've kind of done things, and we as government do this too. Provincially, we do that where we look at how do you do things better? How do you improve things so that you're providing the best possible services and support that you can to the residents of this area? Community safety is a huge priority for us as a government and for the folks here in Swift Current and Southwest Saskatchewan. So to hear tonight that the RCMP are looking at trying to improve things and definitely will not be reducing services, that was an important message to hear tonight, and I think that was something that came through loud and clear.
From your perspective, do you think that the super hub idea that's being considered is a good idea? I mean, they had talked about the improved response time as well as being able to do more predictive policing.
Yeah.
Do you think that could be a benefit?
Well, we'll see what comes out of the consultations. Like I said, I only attended the meeting here in Swift Current. There were a number of other meetings that took place around the region. What's important here is that the organization that's leading this, Myers Norris Penny, they're gathering a lot of feedback from folks, and it's they'll take that feedback back and provide a bit of a summary, and I think, and a report and some options for the RCMP to consider. And at the end of the day, whatever is decided has to be decided with the best interest of the people of Southwest Saskatchewan at heart, making sure that the services provided to the folks here are not only maintained but improved. And I think that's the goal. We heard it not just from the folks who are here in Swift Current tonight that might have said, and given some examples of where they felt that perhaps the service wasn't at the level that they would have liked. But I think we also heard from the RCMP that there's also some limitations that they have that they would like to see addressed by perhaps a different model. So we'll see what comes out of it. I know from this obviously falls under some federal jurisdiction here. In terms of us provincially, the government of Saskatchewan does have a policing services agreement with the RCMP. So any changes that are looked at being implemented do have to be approved by the Minister of Corrections and Policing. So we'll be, I think, interested to see what comes back in terms of feedback and what potential options are, and then take a closer look at that before any decisions are made.